Today we will be bringing you yet another special edition on domestic violence awareness. Stay tuned, we will be right back. Hi, and welcome back to A Better Place. As I mentioned in the introduction, today we will be having a special edition on domestic violence awareness. And we have in the studios with us today none other than the director of Safe Haven, Ms. Leola Simonson. Leola, welcome to A Better Place.
Thank you, Angelique.
So Leola, we know that October is actually the month that they celebrate domestic violence awareness, or not celebrate, but bring about the awareness, they highlight it. And then on November 25th is the International Day of Elimination of Violence Against Women.
Yes, correct.
So we have kind of adopted November as the month that we bring about awareness for Safe Haven in the community of St. Martin.
Yeah,
Can you tell us what are your plans, basically? I know that some activities have already taken place, and you can probably talk a bit about those, and then also about what is yet to come in the month of November.
Well, like you said, domestic violence month is the month of November. And we kicked off the Domestic Awareness Month with our Women Festival. That was our 4th annual Women Festival. We did that last week, and it was a great festival. We had various activities there. We had information stands from the different foundations. We had our flea market. We sold a lot of things, and all the proceeds will go towards Safe Haven. We had a nice kids corner for the children, and it was just a happy day for the general public. We had poetry and dance, and so that was for everybody, because this year we picked the theme that is our local national theme. Violent-free living is a basic human right for all, because it's not only about domestic violence that affects women and children, but violence in general affects everybody here in our community. And so with that theme in mind, we organized all the different events. But we have a lot still to do. We have...
Before you continue, so I know that also there's this, the play that was held during the weekend and the weekend, where also they had announced that proceeds would be going towards Safe Haven. Could you tell us a little bit more about that play and what it entailed?
Yes, the play was Shame and Scandal, and we were very thrilled when they called Safe Haven, because Ursula called me and she said, okay, we want to do a play and the proceeds will go to Safe Haven. And I was like, wow, not only because of the proceeds, but also because the subject, it's a very delicate subject. The play is about incest. And that is also a form of abuse, of course, sexual abuse. And this is a little bit deeper because it's abuse between family members. And this is also an issue that we don't really discuss. It's like domestic violence. Nobody, well, all kinds of abuse. Nobody really wants to touch the subject. So when she called me, I said, oh, that's a great thing that you're all going to do the play, because we need to speak out more about those subjects. And I know the heavy issues, but still we cannot leave them in the chambers of shame, because it's a shameful experience, of course. That's why the play is also Shame and Scandal. It's scandalous, it's very shameful, but it's the same thing as domestic abuse. But what you see is that the victims, they take all the shame. And that is not the right way, because the shame has to be by the perpetrators, and they don't feel the shame. So the victim takes the shame and the scandal, and they stay quiet. So nobody talks about it, and nobody gets punished for the act that they are committing. And that has to change. So I was very happy with the play, and also very happy with the proceeds, because at this moment the shelter is full of women and children, and we need any support that we can get.
So you believe that the play will bring across the awareness that is really needed within the community and probably help persons to become more outspoken and realize that even though society sees this as a shame, it is not acceptable, it should not be accepted, and it should be talked about.
Exactly. Well, it's a start, because you have to start somewhere. It's a start, and because of the play, I also went to the police station, because after this we're going to have a panel discussion, because you can't leave it only by the play. So because we need to speak out more about it, so you need a panel discussion. We will organize a panel discussion with different stakeholders to discuss this topic. And I went by the police station for information, and I was really, really shocked when she told me that at that moment they had 35 cases of incest on her desk, and that is only at the top of the iceberg. So it is out there in our community. So we need to speak out about it. Yes.
Okay, so so those are two activities. You had the Women's Festival, and of course the play that just happened to fall correctly right at the right moment in the
Yes.
month of November as well.
Yes.
Are there other activities that are planned for the
Yes.
month of November?
Yes, of course. We have the 25th of November, and that is also a fundraising in a privé, a jazz fundraising, and I really like that too because I love jazz. So, and that is also a fundraiser. Also, the proceeds will go to the Safe Haven Foundation, and that is November the 25th, out of my head, at privé. Yes, and of course we have our annual silent march. This is our third annual silent march, and this march, when we start to organize this march, it was to, well, it is to remember all the victims, or everybody that died. Yeah? Sorry, I lost it. Everybody.
Right. Cut.
Sorry, I lost
So where
it.
you want to start from? This March. Let's start from this March.
Yeah.
What do you want to say?
Yeah.
Because you should have started with that first, because that's the 24th, and then go to privé. But anyway, you talked about privé already.
Okay,
So,
okay.
Um,
It is? Oh yeah, of course it is.
so just start whatever you want to say, but from this March.
Yeah. This march is specially for all women, children, and men who lost their lives due to domestic violence. And it's a candlelight march in silent. And we start at the library, and then we go straight to the courthouse, and there we have a candlelight ceremony. And we also have a powerful testimony. Last year, we had the mother of the little girl that died. She was burned to death by her father. And this year, well, I'm not going to tell who's going to talk, who's going to tell the testimony, but also very, very powerful. And I encourage everybody to come out to this march because I think it's very important.
And what is the date again?
That's November the 24th. And we have candles, so you don't have to bring your own candles.
Okay, Leola, unfortunately, we have to take a break. So when we come back from the break, we will talk a little bit more about the Silent Witness March, what you want to achieve with it. And we'll also talk a little bit about the jazz night, some of the persons who are participating, and then we'll talk about domestic violence in its entirety.
Okay.
Stay tuned, we will be right back.
For those topsy-turvy nights, a diaper that suits your baby. Huggy Snug and Dry with all new leak lock. Absorbs faster to help stop leaks. Parenthood, chaotically beautiful. Enjoy it.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, Saba, and Statia, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering.
Welcome back to A Better Place. So Loyola, you were busy telling us about the Silence Witness March, which is planned for November 24th, Saturday, November 24th. And you also talked a little bit about the Jazz Night at Privé, which will be on November 25th.
Yes, correct.
But I want some more information concerning the Silence Witness March and how did that come about and what are you trying to accomplish with the Silence Witness March?
Well, it's also a form of getting our message out there to the public, because it's very important. It's very important that we don't forget, because a lot of people lost their lives due to domestic abuse. So that is why we organize this silent march, to honor them, to remember them, and also to bring out the message that this thing has to stop. This is like an illness, and people get killed. They die. So it's, we have these images, red images, and everybody
Why
can
red?
post. Well, red is like, well, you're out there, so that's why we choose red. And everybody can post little notes on the images. You can leave a message, and then we walk with all these images from the library to the courthouse. We start 6:30, and by the courthouse we have a little candlelight ceremony for all the victims, and then we go back to the library where we have some refreshments. But last year we had about 50, maybe 60 persons who joined us in the march, and hopefully this year it will be more, because the more people are participating, the bigger a statement you can make that we are against domestic abuse.
So tell us a little bit now about the event which is planned for November 25th at Privé, the Night of Jazz, which I believe I heard was organized by Connie Vanterpool.
Yes, it's organized by Connie Vanterpool, and it's also a fundraising event for the Safe Haven Foundation. So we are very glad about that. And there will be various artists, jazz artists. I know.
What time does it start, Loyola?
It starts 8:30. It starts 8:30 at Privé, and we will have Betty V will be performing, Shakira will be performing there, and a lot of very good local jazz artists.
Yeah, I understand that you also have Essence.
Yes.
Essence will be singing, Shanela James,
Yeah.
and also Nakisha Henson, some well-known young and aspiring upcoming
Yes.
artists on St. Martin. So I believe that that night is going to be very exciting. And
It will.
what is the price to enter into this event?
$20, so that is very, very cheap. And you are supporting a good cause. And you know, I think it's I'm very happy that we are getting these fundraisings in the community, because it shows that people are starting to acknowledge a Safe Haven, the foundation, and also the cause that we are fighting for, because it's very important. And so please come out the 25th of November. Jazz, I love jazz. And $20.
And Privé is
for the
also a
tickets.
very nice spot. I believe that Mr. Vanderpool has organized first Sundays at
Yes,
Privé
correct,
with
yes.
Nights of Jazz. I've attended, and they've been really interesting. And like you said, jazz is calm, relaxing.
Yes,
So
yes.
I will
Suits
encourage
your
everyone
mind,
to come
yeah.
out and support Safe Haven. Okay, so now we've talked about the various events, those that have passed and those that are to come.
Mhm.
Let's talk now a little bit more about domestic violence in its entirety in St. Martin. What is it looking like? Has it improved since your last visit to A Better Place? Because last year you were also here. We talked a bit about
Yeah.
the numbers and how is the intake in the shelter by Safe Haven.
Yeah. Well, I can say it has been improved in the sense we have more women in the shelter. And you can see that as negative, but I see that as something positive, because that means that people are coming out for it, they start talking about it, and they know the way to the shelter. So in that sense, it is positive. it is also negative because that means that domestic abuse is still ramping here in our community. But I see a change. I see a change, people calling the hotline, and not only women, also men call the hotline to discuss their problems they have in the relationship. We're getting various emails. People are asking for help. Where can I get counseling? Men and women. So that's important that people, because it's so important to communicate, you know? Because when you cannot communicate anymore, well, then you're going to look for other sources. And one of the sources is that you're going to beat your wife, or you're going to beat your girlfriend. And also, women beat their husband, because we get phone calls about that too. So it's important that you communicate. And I see a change that people call the hotline, they send email, and they're asking for help. How can we get couple counseling? So that is something that shows that it's still there, but people talk about it more, and they're looking for help.
And what ways do persons contact, or can they contact the shelter? Because I believe the shelter is at a hidden location. It's not known to the public.
No.
So how do these women find Safe Haven? How do they come about the information and get to Safe Haven for the help they need?
Yeah. Well, we have our hotline, 24/7 hotline, 9333. That's the hotline number. So you can call the hotline and then get in touch with one of the caseworkers. There's always somebody there to pick up the phone. And most women, they call the hotline and we refer them to the police because you have to come in through the police. And you have to go to the police. And we also always tell them, because most women, they don't want to file a complaint against their husband or boyfriend. You don't have to. But you have to file a report, because it's important that you report that you were a victim of domestic abuse. And when you file a complaint, that means if you're pressing charges, and then there will be consequences for your husband or your boyfriend or your partner. But not when you file a report. So it's still important to file a report, because the police have to be aware in what kind of situation you're in. And if it happens often, and hopefully, God forbid, something bad happens to you, at least they have the records by the police station.
Okay, Loyola, we have to take a break. When we come back, we'll continue discussing more on the topic of domestic violence.
Yes.
Stay tuned. We will be right back.
Man, I'm supposed to take my girl out to dinner this weekend. I'm so broke, man.
Man, I used to have those same problems, you know. But since I got my whip company card, when I take my lady out, I even get something back, you know.
Get something back? Well, you're a lucky fella.
I take your mind out the gutter, man. What I mean is, with whip company, I get back 1% on every purchase I make. With this card, I can spend in guilders and use it throughout the Netherlands and TDs. Instead of paying 1% at the dollar credit card, man, I get 1% back on every purchase I make at the end of the year.
What? I gotta get myself a company on card.
Man, but let's go.
Let me go. Man, now my lady's birthday gonna be a real celebration.
At least now with Whip Compaleon, I know you're gonna get something back.
The Web Compaleon credit card with limits as low as 500 guilders. You don't have to walk with cash, and it is accepted by practically all businesses. The Web Compaleon is the first guilder credit card that can be afforded by anyone.
Welcome back to A Better Place. Loyola, we were busy talking about, how the women can get help and they can come into the shelter by going to the police first, and about filing, the difference between filing a complaint and filing a report.
Yes.
Now, when they file a report, because, I'm also a part of Safe Haven, so I know how it goes, and I realize that a lot of women are also afraid of going to the police because of of different reasons. And one reason is also the fact that if they're illegal on the island. So that is a problem. How does the police handle that? Or
Yeah.
are they free to go and complain and be brought into the shelter without having to deal with the ramifications of them not having the correct residency?
Yes. Well, at that moment, it got nothing to do if you're illegal or not. The police will take your statement and they will bring you to the shelter. Anybody can go by the police. Anybody who is a victim of domestic abuse can go by the police and file a complaint or a report against their perpetrator. And the police will not pick you up and they will bring you to the shelter and they're not sending you nowhere because it's a severe case. So at that moment, it's not important if you have the right papers or not. And we have a lot of women in the shelter who have no status, legal status, and we take them and we take care of them. Yes.
So the numbers, you talked about that, you have more families coming in, which means that the awareness is out there and people know more about it.
Yes.
But what are the statistics right now? I know it was 1 in how many women?
Well, it's international, all over the world. It's 1 in 3 women. 1 in 3 women in their lifetime, they will be a victim of abuse. So that is a big number.
That is a big
And here in Sint Maarten, we don't really have the statistics. I only can say about the statistic that we have in Safe Haven. But in 2011, we had about 60 women inside the shelter. And we have a small place. So, but for a small island like this, that's a lot. And that is, of course, only the tip of the iceberg, because the shelter, going into the shelter...
That's like, what about, if you do the calculation, that's about 5 women a month.
Yes, but going into the shelter, that is the last thing that you do, to go in hiding, So there are many women out there, still in their families, in their houses, and they don't seek shelter, but they are also victims.
But, something that I've come to find out is that it's such a taboo subject as well. And
Yeah.
people, women tend to feel ashamed or to feel bad to say, well, I was abused or I had a particular situation. And also because of that support, that feeling that I can speak to someone and I need to vent, but what I say will stay there and eventually I'll get to help. So
Yes.
how would you encourage women who are being abused but are afraid of these stereotypes and afraid of their information being leaked to a third party that they might not want to know? How would you encourage them to seek help for their situation?
Well, like I just told you, we have the hotline, the 24-hour hotline, so you can call the hotline. There is a caseworker on the other side of the phone, and she will handle your case. And Safe Haven is very confidential. It's a very confidential place. We also have a website, and of course, if you don't want to talk to somebody in person, you can go on the website. We have a lot of information on the website at safehaven.org. Check the website. We even have an escape plan on the website that you can use. We have a safety plan, how to go about leaving your husband or your partner, what you need. We have information about domestic abuse in general. I love the website because the website has an escape button. So, for example, if you're busy on the website at your job or at home and somebody comes in and you don't want people to know your business, you just press the button, escape button, and it goes straight to the weather channel. So nobody knows that you were on the Safe Haven website checking out the information. Yes, so we are very confidential.
So what is the website's address for people who are watching and are interested in going on for information?
That's safehavensxm.org.
Safehavensxm.org.
Yes.
And are you also on Facebook?
Yes, we are on Facebook. We have a link on the website to Facebook. Yes.
So what is it on Facebook if you don't want to use the link?
Facebook, Safe Haven SXM.
That's it,
Yes.
Safe Haven SXM.
That's the page, yes. And you can get all kinds of information then, and then you can decide, okay, maybe I want to speak to somebody in person, and then you call the hotline. But don't stay and wait and keep your mouth shut, because it's very important, because it's not only affecting yourself, but also the children that you have, and even your husband or your spouse. Yeah.
How do we get people to become more vocal? I think it's just a matter of us showing more support for each other
Exactly.
and being more loving. I was listening to the president of Safe Haven a while ago on a radio program, and she was talking about that and saying that as a people, St. Martin's has become less friendly and less approachable. So people, when they're experiencing difficulties, tend to want to keep it inside because they don't know what reactions they will get from someone else who might not have the understanding and know how to approach them. So
That is correct, but that's why we have Safe Haven. You have the 24-hour hotline, but you also go out there, go to your doctor, you know, go to your pastor, and but just speak out about it, because once you share it with somebody, it's not such a heavy burden anymore.
you know what is funny, like you're saying that, share it with the past and so on. A part in the play that was very touching to me is when the person that's committing the incest seems to be a high-profile person in society, and instead of the parent, the mother, wanting to assist the child, this is what she's consumed with, thinking about this person's persona in the community and what their people
Yeah.
will think of them, you know, and that's very shameful because you also have, and that's the thing about domestic violence, it doesn't have a face.
No.
You know, it can be from the top to the lowest persons experiencing it, but because of certain positions in the community, these people also keep it silent and don't speak out.
Correct. But we also have women in the shelter from different cultures, different economic backgrounds, you know. So, but at a given moment, you have to speak out about it, because it becomes unbearable. So you have to call somebody, and even if it's a friend, maybe in your own family, but somebody that you can trust, because it's very important that you share this information with somebody you can trust.
Okay, well, Loyola, unfortunately, our time has come to an end. I would just like you to reiterate one more time, you know, the two events that you have left in the month of November and encourage the persons to come out and support.
Yes. Well, first it's our Silent Witness March at November the 24th. We start 6:30 at the library. And so I encourage everybody to come out. It's our third annual march, and I would love to see all the people from St. Martin there saying no against domestic violence. And the next day, the 25th of November, International Day of Elimination, we have the jazz fundraising at Privé starting 8:30.
8:30?
8:30.
Okay. Well, thanks, Loyola, once again for all of that information. I want to encourage you to continue doing the good works and bringing about that awareness against domestic violence.
Yes, thank you.
And to you, the viewing audience, we want to encourage you to also support Safe Haven. Go out on November 24th to the Silent Witness March. Come out on November 25th, Sunday, at Privé at 8:15 or 8:30 p.m. It's only $20. Get your tickets. I guess you can get them at the various outlets. And let's say no to domestic violence. I am your host, Angelique Rumu.